Hello guys, Sel here and welcome to another episode of our amazing tutorial videos. In this video we're going to look at another version of Speedometer Chart. Alright, so for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we've been making videos on the various chart widgets you can use for your safety reporting. Alright, so if you are looking to estimate any score as far as your key performance indicators are concerned, rather than just using a test, you could use a progress chart where you have the remainder, you have the progress, and you have a beautiful progress chart that you can use to visualize your key performance indicators. So we've been looking at various types of progress charts or various chart widgets. We looked at this one, we've looked at this, we've looked at this, we've looked at this. So in case you missed them, you may want to go back and check these videos. All right, so our last video we looked at this very chart, right? This very chart, and we did a slight variation of it. So just go back to this sheet. We did a slight variation, and this is something that is very amazing to use in your report. All right, so somebody may argue that this is not a speedometer chart, this is actually a radial chart. To some extent it is correct, because this is actually the radial chart, but when it comes to this, it almost looks like a speedometer chart because you're only using the half of the chart, the donut chart, right? And whenever it comes anything that has to do with a half, it looks more like a speedometer, right? As opposed to having a full circle like this, which is more like a radial chart. So we can have an argument over it. If you think that this is a radial chart, you can put it in the comment below. If you think this is a speedometer chart, you can also put it in the comment below. All right, so without wasting time, let's head over to this very sheet. We're going to look at this speedometer chart. Right, so this is basically for each of the key performance indicator, but there are some dynamics to this very chart. It's not easy to plot, but we're gonna dive into it and try to understand how we came about this type of chart. All right, so it has two data series within the chart. All right, if I click on, okay, first and foremost, let me just ungroup. Okay, I can actually have access to it. If I select data, you notice that there are two data series. So you have the gray part and then the colored part. All right, or let me just use this one so that you can see clearly. If I click on it, two data points, the gray part and then the colored part. All right, so there we have it. As you can see in the dotted lines, is showing us that. Okay, so what is going on here? If I click on this and I format data series and I increase the size of the donut, what you see is that we have the first part and we have the second part. All right, so the second part is a gray part. We are not interested in the one below, we are interested in just the one above. But how do we plot this on a donut chart, right? So what is happening here is that rather than estimating, visualizing the report based on percentages, we are actually visualizing the report based on discrete numbers or absolute numbers. All right, so as you can see, there are this single proportions of data points, and then there's the one big one below. All right, so single proportions of data points, and then there's a very big one below. So what does that mean? So this we can denote with 1. All right, so 1 is repeating how many times? 100 times, and then there's a bigger one which is 100, one absolute number, 100. Okay, so that's exactly what we have here. The gray part is summing all the way up to 100, and then we have the bigger part which is the one below. So that then implies that when it comes to a donut chart, we can use discrete numbers to represent it, and it will sum up to a total of 200 as opposed to 100% where we use a percentage score. When it comes to discrete numbers, it's summing up to a total of 200. Okay, now we're going to also focus on this very one, and this is actually the score. Now instead of tracking the score in percentage, we're also going to convert the score to discrete numbers, where we are able to tell at which point do we need to count the one, and at which point do we need to count the other parts. All right, so basically we have the 100 down below, we have the 100 up above, but we are going to estimate or implement a system that helps us to count the ones, and the ones that does not apply is going to indicate as 0, which is the remainder, right? So here is going to be 0, here is going to be the 1, and down below is going to be 100, which we are not going to show. Okay, so if I click on it again, you're going to see that. Okay, so without wasting time, let's head over to our sheet. Now quickly we'll create another copy of this charts, another copy of this sheet, and we come over here, we delete this. Okay, now take note that we want to keep things simple, so we're going to get rid of these other KPIs. We even want to get rid of this because we want to keep it very simple. We don't have time, right? So we are only focusing on the score. We don't need the remainder. Okay, and the target also, we don't need that. We're only looking at the score. Okay, now this score is basically the fact that we have the cumulative total for the key performance indicator, or the KPI, the workplace inspection, divided by the target, which is 600, and that gives us a score of 89%. Now we're going to plot our chart, speedometer charts. So just to make sure that I'm making much space so that we can all see, let me just reduce the size of the table so we can all see clearly, right? So first and foremost we're going to establish our sequence. This is just to help us know at which level we are when it comes to the data point, right? So we're trying to plot a total of 200 data points, right? But we're going to do something. The first part is the 100. We're trying to count how many ones sums up to 100, right? So we'll call this one sequence. Okay, and then we're going to call the second one gray. The gray part is the one we're going to plot first. So we are going to count a series of one, right? A series of ones summing up to 100. So because we have this to check, we can tell that there's a total of 100, right? And then the remaining is going to be 100. Now if I do a summation of it, that's a total of 200, right? We don't need a 200. We're only trying to establish the fact that this sums up to 200. So we have the ones above, and then we have the other data point, which is just 100. Now how do we plot our graph? We just select everything, include the 100. We come to donut chart, we click on it, and there we have it. We've been able to estimate the gray part. So that is the gray part. So what do? We format data series, we change the angle to 270. So 270 is going to bring the ones up. Now take note that we are trying to plot a speedometer chart, so we don't need the one below, we only need the one above. So we double click on this data point, which is the 100 you see down here. We come to the fill, we click on no fill and no border. All right, so we've been able to work on this. Now let's try to change all of them first. You're supposed to change them to gray. All right, so let's right click, go to format data series, go to fill, just change everything to gray. So it has to be gray because that's the gray part, so that we can then double click on here and then get rid of the no fill and then the border as well. Okay, and then we can format the charts by getting rid of the fill again and then the outline. So this is the first one. Okay, the first one. We're going to look at the second one, which is where are you? Okay, there you are. Come all the way up. All right, now you're going to focus on the second part. The second part is the colored part, right? So the colored part, we are going to do something, right? We're going to convert this to absolute numbers. So we will try to create a helper calculation, a calculation that's going to help us to determine how we will estimate the colored part. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we are converting this to an absolute number. So we go to this, the percentage times 100, that gives us an absolute number, right? That is this number. Now we just want to make sure that we lock this, Control T, Command T, that's using Mac, but you can use F4 to convert this to an absolute reference. All right, so we click on it, we hit enter, and then we drag all the way down. Okay, so there we have it. So now we've converted, each one of them is basically estimating the absolute number for the score, which is 88.83, right? Now you're going to have a formula that says that if this value, the sequence, is less than or equal to this, it should put 1. If not, put 0. All right, so we drag it all the way down to this point. Now what it does is that it's going to estimate based on the score. It's going to count 1 until you get to a point where the sequence is greater than the score. If the sequence is greater than the score, then we are going to get 0. Like 8 to 9 is greater than 8 to 8, so we're going to get 0, right? And then that will take care of the top part, the progress, right? Now the remainder is going to be 200 minus this absolute number. How did we come about the absolute number? We just select this, multiply by 100, right? That's multiplied by 100. 200 minus that. Then I didn't select well. Hold on. Oops. I'll just do equal to 200 minus this absolute score. Okay, minus the absolute score, not the percentage score. Okay, so what do we get? We get this value, right? Now take note that this is going to sum up to 100 if you check. Okay, if you round up, it's going to be 100. That's if you round up. Okay, but not exactly 100, but it's supposed to be something around 100. Okay, so that is basically what we've done right now. So what we're going to do is that we're going to click on this, select data, add another series, click on this, and then we would plot this side on the graph, right? And then we hit enter. So we've been able to introduce the other half. All right? Now what we're going to do is that we're going to click on this, okay, and we are going to format the data series, which is already opened. We're going to choose a nice color. All right, so we're going to choose blue, solid fill. We'll go to blue, right? That is it, right? Right there. We double click on this, and then we do no fill, okay, and no border as well. So we have the one above, one below. Okay, now what do? We need to make sure that this one above is on the first data, is on the secondary axis. It has to be on top, and then this one has to be below, or else we try to reduce the size, they all move together, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to convert all of them to a combo chart, and then we can be able to properly place each one of them above the other. Okay, so the other above the other, so basically that's what I mean. So we just go to change the chart type, go to combo chart, convert this to combo, right? Combo. So one has the zeros, the other one is ones all throughout, right? So first and foremost, the one that has the zero, you can see that there are the ones down, and then the remaining goes all the way to the x-axis, which is like the 0, right? So we're going to make that the secondary chart, and we can quickly convert that back to a donut chart, right? Because we've already identified it. And then we're going to convert the other one also. So try to locate it, right click it, and convert it back to donut chart, right? And then what we're going to do is that we're going to change the angle back to 270. And then the other one also. Now take note that this one is above. Okay, this one is above, so we need to increase the size of the donut to have access to the one below. And then we change the angle as well to this. Okay, so the one above, we can then bring it back to 50 if you want to keep it like 50 for each of them. All right, so that's basically what we've done right now. We've been able to introduce a speedometer chart, all right, based on this score. So if this score changes, for example, assuming this changes, that's what happens right there. Okay, if it changes, that's what happens right there. So let's just bring back the data. Okay, so right now that we have this, all we need to do is just format the chart by inserting a text box like this. We click on the outline of the text box, we click on the score, we hit the equal sign, and then we can bring it to the center and increase the font size. We can then increase give it a unique font color, which is also blue, and put it right here. Okay, and then we would also format the outline and the fill to make sure that it is no fill. So there we have it. We've created our speedometer chart, this unique one, and this is dynamic, as you can see. Now take note that whenever we create our chart, we need to make sure that we change the property to don't move or resize with cell. So once we do that, we're able to now estimate our score. So this is what we've been able to do right now based on this calculation, right? So it takes a little bit of effort to understand the data series and the data point, right? So a recap is that this one above, which is the progress, is basically data point of ones or one all throughout, to a point where if the score is greater than the series, then it should give us 0, which means I should not keep counting, and then the remainder will be the other half of the donut chart, right? And if you go to the other data series, which is below it, okay, which that means that we increase the size and we have access to it, okay. That also is a data series of 1, which is spanning up to 100, and then one single data series of 100, and that is what we have over there. Okay, so thank you all for your attention. I believe you find this video very insightful. Now take note that you can always play around a chart widget like this. You can always, reduce the size, increase the size of the donut, or reduce the size of the donut to look as big as you want it, or you can make it look as small as you want it. Like, you make it look very small like this, or very, very lean or slim like this if you want. Okay, then this one also would be exactly 85. So the choice is all yours. You can keep it like this, or you can make it bigger, but I think it's nicer when it is very big. Okay, so thank you all for your attention. I'm gonna see you again in another video. Okay, so always take note that these calculations, sometimes you just want to hide them so that nobody tampers with it when you are creating charts like this. Okay, yes, so we've been able to do this, we've done this, we've done that, we've done all these other ones. So this is probably the last video that I'm making, because I'm heading back to work. I'm traveling to the UAE for work, and I'll be back in 4 weeks. So this is the last video that I'm making. So until we meet again, stay safe and all the best. See ya.